Hello, welcome back, maybe? Or if you haven't seen me before, hi, welcome. So, today, well, one, I got a mic. Yay! So hopefully the audio is better quality than previous videos. But also, this one, okay, let me rephrase that. This is my first scripted video, so I have my script over here, but this part is not scripted at all. So, my plan is I have the Jeff the Killer video almost done, but I need a little longer. And also it's gonna end up being like 3 hours long. Embarrassing, I know. But it's gonna be end up being like 3 hours long, so I need a little bit more time to film. So that video will come next week. So this is my filler video, I'm gonna call it, because usually I try to do, or I was planning on doing one long, one short, one long, one short. Like that's how I would alternate. But you're getting 2 short weeks in a row, so I guess that means maybe 2 long videos in a row. I don't know, but I have the Jeff the Killer one planned, but that has to come next week. So I decided, it would be fun reading you guys my essay. Well, not really reading you guys my essay, but I wrote an analysis for my English class on the Hunger Games. It's a very bare bones analysis. We watched the movie because we didn't have time to read the book because we're reading another book, which maybe I'll make a video on that if I think it's interesting enough. But we started what's the word? Well, we watched the movie in class and we wrote essays. Yay, fun! I know. And so we had to write about power. We had to write about power in the Hunger Games. So I figured I would share my thoughts. It's a very bare bones analysis because one, I'm using the movies, and two, I don't I like the Hunger Games, but I haven't read the book either. So maybe I would enjoy it more if I read the book. It's not a bad movie either, but you know. So here is my analysis on power in the Hunger Games, the dynamics of power. So, as you all know, not power, oh my god, as you all know, The Hunger Games was written by Suzanne Collins, is a young adult dystopian novel about, you know, about I think it's set in the future, but so basically, short version of it, there's these 12 districts. They rebel against the capital at one point, and then they lose. And so after that, it gets the Hunger Games get put in place, where 24 kids, two from each district, one male, one female tribute, all get picked, and then they get put in the game, and only one of them can come out. And they all fight to the death or whatever. I don't know. But, well, I mean, I do know, but they all fight to the death. So the first book takes place during the 76th Hunger Games, which is, or no, not the 76th, I think the 74th Annual Hunger Games. My bad. So 74th Annual Hunger Games. Our main character, Katniss, is from District 12, which is one of the worst districts. They have absolutely no power. But that's not the point. The point is she comes from District 12, which is one of the worst districts to come from. Her sister gets, if you I'm assuming you've seen Hunger Games, but if you haven't, her sister gets pulled in the reaping, which is how they pick the kids, and she volunteers instead. So now, off to my essay that I hope you guys enjoy. Um, I'm nervous. I'm sorry. Power in the Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins changes depending on depending on the environment. During everyday life, the districts have absolutely no power, while the capital has all of the power. During the reaping, District 12 has absolutely no power, while Districts 1 and 2 have slightly more, since they get to volunteer for the games instead of being picked at random, causing them to be known as careers. Since they train for the games, they go to school. Oh, I believe they go to school for it. They get to volunteer. There's a whole big argument about who gets to volunteer. They have more power. They have more control over who gets sent into the Hunger Games in a district like District 12, where they get picked at absolute random. But during the game itself, outside the arena, the game makers are the ones who have all the power. They're the ones who are deciding what's in the cornucopia, what's in the games itself. Are there a bunch of dogs running around chasing people? Is it the woods? Is it I don't know, some house or something like that? But inside the actual arena, It's anyone's game. It can go any way. As whoever has the best survival skills, whoever is good at manipulating people, they it's anybody. It doesn't matter the district. Once you're in the games, you are all equal to an extent. Where was I? Sorry. The power game. I mean, not the power game. The power in the Hunger Games is a weird flowchart of power that can change at random, but there's one consistent part of that flowchart. I don't know if that works. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm sorry. I don't know how flowcharts work too well. I don't use them. But the one consistent part of this flowchart of power, it's is that President Snow in the Capitol has all the power, no matter what, and they abuse their power for personal gain. Now, the first time we're introduced to President, I should move this. Wow. Now, the first time we're introduced to President Snow, he's shown as being above everybody, both in the film, both figuratively and literally. He's physically above everybody on a terrace, introducing each two tributes from every district. Literally, he's like the all of the people come in on the little like the carts or whatever. They're like this, and then he's up here. But from he's the one he's above everybody, introducing two tributes from each district that are being forced to fight to the death, something that he's most likely never had to experience before, since either I don't know about the rest of the Hunger Games, but either he never got picked for the reaping, or if he did, he made it out alive. But I'm pretty sure he never ended up in the reaping because I believe he's from the capital. Do not quote me on that. But um he's also the president. He's in charge of everyone and everything. He allows the game to continue and even changes them when he needs to, such as him attempting to kill off Katniss in the 74th annual Hunger Games, which I mentioned before, or that it's the 74th, by telling the game makers to make it harder for her, which we see as I said earlier. We see that outside of the arena they have all the power. There are points where they put trees in her way. They send out dogs to chase her. All that not really fun stuff. Um, he uses his power to make sure that he can stay in power. By attempting to kill Katniss, it's a way to show his desperate need for control, and that even though Katniss isn't a threat yet, and probably would have never become one if he had not interfered, Snow became a self-fulfilling prophecy. By abusing his power to get rid of a problem prematurely, he shot himself in the foot. His abuse of power showed Katniss how truly unbalanced the world is. It showed Katniss that her life isn't district versus district, but that it's districts versus Snow. She knew that the world was fucked, but during the games she saw how incredibly fucked the world was. That it showed that Snow's actions showed that none of the districts have power, and even the careers don't have power. God damn it, I can't speak today. But even the careers don't have power. This causes her to find a loophole during her games while she's fighting to the death. Um, During the last stand between Katniss, Peeta, and Cato. Cato is not a district, a career from District 1. Who is attempting to kill Katniss and Peeta. They Katniss and Peeta managed to kill Cato, taking him out. Now, at this point, they're supposed to win because, as I mentioned before, if you've never seen the Hunger Games or read it, the games usually only have one winner. But in the 74th, they made a condition that if both people are from the same district, you could have two winners. So if there's two people from District 1 still alive, they'd both be able to win. They'd both be able to go home. But after they kill Cato, all of a sudden the rules got changed. All of a sudden, only one of them get to live. So Katniss, in this predicament, tells Peeta that they'll both kill themselves by eating poison berries that Peeta had found earlier while he was scavenging. Since the Hunger Games can't have zero winners, they allow both of them to live. And because it wouldn't be, if they had no winners, there was no point of the games, because the whole thing is like there is one winner, there has to be. So they allow them both to live because his abuse of power, Snow's, was purely for personal gain, and only harmed others for no other reason than the fear of losing his own power. Fun, right? Not really, but so Snow is an asshole, but you know who else is an asshole. The only other group that has a similar amount of power uh, to Snow, aka the people of the Capitol. Citizens of the Capitol are the only group that don't have to participate in the Hunger Games. They're the 1%. They're the Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk of the Hunger Games universe. They all have money. They bet on the Hunger Games. They even sponsor tributes if they like them enough. The needless homicide of children is entertainment to them. It's their equivalent to shows like Survivor or Big Brother. It's nothing more than another thing on TV. The people of the Capitol are so desensitized to violence and brutality that people care more about the Romeo and Juliet star-crossed lover aspect of Peeta and Katniss' fake relationship to gain sponsors than the fact that they could die. The people of the Capitol clearly have some power. Of course, not as much as Snow, but they have much more than the districts. Yet they use that power to allow the games to continue. If people simply didn't bet or didn't sponsor tributes, the game would inevitably crumble because there's no reason to keep watching them. But they don't. They continue to encourage the games and the murder of children for their own pleasure. They have all this money and power compared to the districts and only use it for their own benign purposes, their own sick, sadistic amusement. Unlike Snow, the people of the Capitol abuse their power in a different way. They're spectators. They could do something, but they choose not to. They actively choose to participate in the betting of sponsorship of tributes. If they don't do that, they still watch it. They still watch the games. Unlike the people in the district, they're not forced to watch the games. They choose to. Even a character in the story says this. Gale, which is Katniss's best friend, and he's from District 12, states in the beginning of the movie that, and in the book, that if no one watches the games, they don't have a game. The people in the Capitol have this power over the games, but it have this like special power over the games, but use it to continue the game for their own benefit. They allow the massacre of 24 children every year for nothing more than money, which they clearly have enough of, considering they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars sponsoring and betting on these kids' life and death, and inevitable death. They use their power to trade human lives for temporary pleasure in some kind of sick, perverted, inhuman way of thinking. Now, time for let's bring it all back. The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins shows that not only how power corrupts, but how people in power using said power for their own personal gain. For the goddamn it, sorry, but how people in power said power, using said power, abuse it for their own personal gain. This this is shown best in President Snow and the Capitol as they both abuse their power to make sure the games can continue, albeit for different reasons. President Snow wants to keep the games going, to keep the districts under his control, while the Capitol wants to keep the games going for entertainment and money. They both abuse their power and allow this to happen, and it's shown continually throughout the film. Every time you see the Capitol or you see Snow on screen, they are doing something that exclusively benefits them. They don't do anything to they do help the tributes, but they don't. They do it in a way of they do it in a way to keep the games interesting. If someone is sponsoring a tribute, it's because they like them. They want them to live, but not because they're a person, not because they're a living human being, but because they they find them interesting, or they think they'll win and they want to make sure that they get their money back on their bets. Um so yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this short little analysis. It's not super in detail because I think everybody and their mother has done an analysis on the Hunger Games, so this isn't really anything that interesting. But why not? Fuck it, we ball. So yeah, that's my analysis of The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. In this case, the movie, not the book. I'll read the book eventually. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Jeff the Killer videos coming next week, and then so I won't have the microphone because I started recording that before I got the microphone. But and then after the Jeff the Killer video, I will do Lou, Jane, and Nina all in the same video, or maybe I'll do another video before them, but I will do them eventually. Yay! Thank you for watching. And have a good day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you when you're seeing this.